My third guest is joining me right now, all the way from Mississippi. I am joined with Nathan Lawler, and he's joining me right now. What's going on, Nathan?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing real good, and thank you for joining me on the show.
No problem.
How did your wrestling career get started?
Well, I grew up in Memphis. I was looking for a place to train for a long time, which took me to Natchez, Mississippi, where I started training with a guy named John Saxon and Les Thatcher. Everything's kind of fell in right there. I broke in with a few different guys. Myself, Jeremy Awesome, Jason Vane, Max Maverick, L.C. Cole. All of us broke in around the same time right there in Natchez, Mississippi, a little bitty town.
Uh, Now, I know you've been asked this through companies and promoters and fans and such. You got the last name Lawler, which is named after a Hall of Famer, Jerry Lawler. How did that came about?
Uh, Actually, it's a funny story, man. Growing up in Memphis and everything, everybody tells me I look a lot like him. It's just something that kind of stuck with me. It got stuck to me by Booker down in Hattiesburg, and he just kind of told me to run with it, so it just kind of stuck from there.
And when you went with this, how did it all? How did you first dealt with that name? And when promoters went up to you and you told them your name and their reaction, how did you deal with that?
I mean, I don't know really. It's just some people they have a problem with it. They think I'm trying to rip on somebody who made it big before I ever broke in, and that's not the case. It's just a name that was given to me that got stuck with me. But it's whatever. Until he tells me not to use it himself, I'm not gonna stop.
Do you remember your first match, the first match you ever had, and if so, who was your opponent? Where was it located, and what was the company?
My first match was a tag match. Myself and L.C. Cole taking on Jeremy Awesome and Justin Awesome, actually. The Awesome Tag Team is what they were called. We were in Mobile, Alabama for High Impact Wrestling.
Oh, and speaking of awesome, that's how I first heard of you through Jeremy Awesome. Y'all two are actually are a tag team. How did that team came about?
It's me and him. We actually started teaming up a little while ago. We were just kind of put together after a little while. We'd been working shows together, and we figured, we've been working each other for over 6 years and wrestling together and all that stuff. So me and him, we ended up just tagging up together, seeing how it worked, and so far it's going really well for us.
How would you best describe your wrestling style?
I'm Smash Mouth, man. I do things unlike some of the other big boys. I fly around every now and then. I'm almost 300 pounds. I'll stand out there and hit the drop kicks and all that good stuff. I'm a very hard-nosed impact wrestler. I'm the classic big boy style from back in the 90s.
Who do you consider as influences in your wrestling career?
Watching guys like Bam Bam Bigelow, Vader, the heavy guys, the big boys, the ones that were always like me as a child. Looking at them, they're the ones who I tried to model myself after because they were big and they broke the barrier for what big people can do in wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. Vader and Bam Bam Bigelow, especially the 300 plus pound guys who can do more than just slam your opponents. I mean, they can get in the air, they can fly too, and that takes a lot of guts for people of their stature for one to go up the top rope and perform the high flying maneuvers. And also, I'll go ahead and put Kane in that category as well. He likes to go on the top rope and does that flying clothesline. But it's just amazing that these guys can perform at a high level and do maneuvers that you normally see a casual guy would do.
I mean, that's what makes them. That's what made them stand out to me. Was you see guys that are 400-pound men, just monsters, going up to where the little guys are supposed to be, and they're flipping off of it, flying all across the ring, landing hard, and still getting up. Those were the guys that stood out to me as being the guys that everybody talks about being, above life and just bigger than life. Those were the kind of guys that did it for me.
The one thing I hear a lot from wrestlers is passion. It's something that you either have or you don't. And it's definitely a must if you're going to be in this wrestling business long term. How important it is, do you think, as a wrestler, that you gotta have passion to make it far in this business?
Passion is the most important thing. If you don't have the passion for it, and it's just something you kind of like to do on the side, you're not going to last, because it takes a toll on your body. For anything that you really love and really want to do, you're willing to take the pain for it. The passion, all that. You have to really want it. You have to desire it. I don't know, if I'm not in a wrestling ring on a Saturday evening kicking someone in the head, I feel out of place.
And and like any other sport, wrestling, injuries, people getting hurt, it comes with the territory. How long did it took you to, I guess, adapt to the pain? It happens to a lot of wrestlers. You gotta take punishment at times. But how long did it took you to adapt to being in there and taking some shots?
Honestly, I don't really know, because you're always hurting a little bit afterwards. It's never something that's going to be nice and easy the next time out there. It does take a while to get used to it, but it's definitely more than a couple weeks and a couple months. It takes a long time to get your body used to it, especially if you're doing it on a weekly, every Saturday, every Friday, however often you're doing it. It takes a while to get your body used to doing all that. If you're doing it once every 2-3 months, yeah, you're not going to get used to it, because your body's not taking the beating.
For those that are joining me here, this is Triple Threat Wrestling Radio right here on ITMIRadio.com. I am joined with Nathan Lawler right here on the show, entering hour number 2. So, do you have any upcoming shows that you would like to promote?
Actually, yeah, tomorrow night I will be in Amory with Outlaw Wrestling Organization. That's Amory, Mississippi. The following Saturday, I will be in Tunica with TWE, Total Wrestling Explosion, in association with Tunica Championship Wrestling. The following weekends, I'll be in Tupelo for TFW, Selmer, and then on the 3rd, I will be in Greenville, Mississippi with Total Wrestling Explosion again.
Tupelo, Mississippi just so happens to be my birthplace. I was born in Tupelo. And I'm hearing a lot of wrestling going on in the Mississippi area, and that's good to see. I never thought of wrestling being a Mississippi type of town, but at least it's good to see some wrestling out there like any other state in the United States. What do you consider as the highlight of your wrestling career thus far? It could be a storyline, it could be a match, it could be winning a championship, or a dream match for that matter. What do you consider as the highlight of your career?
Right now there's a few of them. When I won my first title in Total Wrestling Explosion, it's the National Wrestling Alliance, TWE, Total Wrestling Explosion with the NWA. That was my first title I ever won. That was pretty crazy. And also winning my first piece of tag team gold with Jeremy. Me, him, and Jenna, all of us just kind of hanging out. We ended up winning our tag titles. That's got to be pretty high up there.
And at this point of your career, what are some other goals you'd like to accomplish? You'd like to travel more, have more matches, more maybe getting yourself a push for a company? What are some other goals you'd like to accomplish?
Well, right now I'm trying to get out there as much as I can, all over the state, all over America. I'm trying to get anywhere I can. Right now I'm taking over Mississippi. I've been to a lot of places in Mississippi and Tennessee. Long term, everybody wants to try to make it to either WWE or TNA and all that. I'm just another one who would love an opportunity to try that. But I want to try to go to Mexico, Japan, Puerto Rico, all these places where all the other guys before us, the guys that basically laid down the foundation, have been. I want to go and see what they've done, try to be a part of history like they were.
Have you ever had a chance to watch your matches on YouTube, and if so, how do you handle watching yourself? Do you ever get the feeling that maybe I could have done this more? Maybe I could have did this move correctly. Do you ever get a chance to watch your own wrestling matches on YouTube?
I do. I watch myself. I watch my matches and all that. And I'm everybody needs to be their own hardest critic, and I am too. Whenever I see something that when I see it and it didn't look up to snuff as how good I want it to be, I get upset with myself. So it's just one reason to go out there and do it right the next time. But watching yourself can be a bad thing too. We were always told one thing when we were first breaking in: it's, would you pay to watch yourself? And there's a lot of guys out there who will kid you and say, yes, they will. And if you go back and watch your matches and you see that you're doing a lot of things wrong, no, you're not going to pay to watch yourself. So it's kind of hard to be a critic of yourself because it's always so easy to be, overly critical, which is the best. I think that's the best way to be. If you're overly critical, you're never going to meet your own standards,
I think the people that do get the least critical, it just shows that they do care, and they want to improve, and they want to get better. I guess sometimes people look at some things and think, that's not a big deal. But it is a big deal. I mean, you got to make sure that you don't put your opponent and yourself in harm's way. It's just like any other sport. Everyone has to be on the same page. You can't just overdo something when you're in that ring.
Exactly. That's why training is so important. All these guys who don't want to pay their dues in wrestling, they don't want to do anything except get in there and wrestle. I can speak for myself and the guys that broke in with me, the guys I was talking about earlier. We all trained for a long time before we were able to do anything other than security and ring crew. We were in the ring all the time, bumping, getting used to everything, learning the craft, trying to become better wrestlers. We finally got to get in there, and we still were paying dues. We were wrestling. No pay for the wrestling because it was part of the training. Slinging the ring, making the drives, doing all that. Not enough people are having to do that now, and that's why there's so many people in the business who aren't quite ready for it. It's because they didn't have to pay the dues. They didn't have to learn the respect. It was basically handed to them.
Who are some wrestlers out there? It could be indie wrestlers or pro wrestlers that you haven't had a chance to work with but would like to work with someday.
I've never had a singles match with John Saxon, the guy who helped me learn everything. I would love an opportunity being there with John Saxon so that I can, learn and show him what I've learned over the years and all that. And he's one of the better guys in the South. That's somebody I'm looking forward to working with in the future.
Now, I want to ask this next question from a fan standpoint. What is your thoughts on wrestling as a whole, from the indies to the pros, and how people are looked at and how they are given opportunities and getting into main events and stuff of that nature? I mean, what's your take on wrestling as a whole, where it's at and where it's going?
If on a large scale, wrestling has toned down a lot from where it was back in the day. Back in the 80s and the 90s, it was at a much higher level. I'm hoping it'll go back to that level, but right now it has definitely dropped down. As far as the pros, the big leagues, the WWEs and TNAs, there's nothing we can do about that because the guys that are there, they earned their spots there. They did. Most of them, they have all worked really hard. But the indie scene is killing a lot of places because of these. There's a lot of promoters who don't bring in people they need to bring in. They're bringing in guys that are backyard wrestlers, and they're not trained quite properly, so it does not look good. I uh, I do not like backyards.
And that's something that is all I can say is the whole backyard thing. That's something that I may never understand. I mean, if they want to be stunt people, it's one thing to be wrestlers. It's not as just look like stuntmen as far as I'm concerned. It's just something I'll never understand. I mean, if they really want to take it seriously, they need to get the proper training. I don't know. I don't ever recall a top caliber wrestler getting a start on backyard wrestling and think they can just become a superstar overnight, a main event person for that matter. I just don't understand why people think it's okay to go through backyard wrestling and think they can be the next big star or whatever. It's just something I may never understand.
It shouldn't be an option. I mean, anybody that wants to wrestle should have to train. But these guys that don't have the money, they don't care about it, they don't want it as badly as everybody wants it. That's what they're doing. They're going there because it's the easy route to say, "Hey, I'm a professional wrestler. Come watch me beat up another random guy with sticks, chairs, and whatever else I can find in my backyard. Come out and enjoy the show." I'm sorry, that's not a show to me. That's just two people going out there and being completely stupid and hurting a business that I love.
It's very unfortunate, and what makes it even worse that backyard wrestling is not going anywhere. I guess at the end of the day, we all know who paid their dues. We all know who really had to give it to take this business seriously to get to where they at. And I guess as long as reasonable wrestling fans know the difference between the two, then I guess that's all we can go with. That's all we can go with. Why don't you go ahead and promote your links, Facebook or Twitter or any other links that people need to know?
My Facebook, look me up at Nathan Lawler. The email is n_Lawler@yahoo.com.
And check him out, and TWE, check him out in the Mississippi areas. Be on the lookout for Nathan Lawler, to Jeremy Awesome, to Jenny Awesome, and Paris Kelly. Just, and again, support local indie pro wrestling. They are the backbone of professional wrestling. That's how a lot of these big stars get their start. Not no backyards. Backyards not included.
That's for sure.
Well, Nathan, I want to thank you so much for joining me and your passion, and best of success goes out to you and Jeremy and Jenna and everyone out there at TWE. And thank you for your time, and again, thank you for being on.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You have a good night.
You do the same, buddy.
All right, bye-bye. That was Nathan Lawler right here on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.